mean, Riley Cooper, I mean, like, that dude deserves a statue. I mean, like,
number one on your speed dial.
Hey, I'll tell you what, like, I mean, I didn't know until a couple days after the fact. I was like, wait a minute, is he the MVP or like we got the all tournament team?
No doubt about it.
And then Ty Floyd, when I struck out 17, and like stole it from him. But I was like, when has a pitcher like been a part of like 5 of the 6 wins in Omaha? I mean, what a performance!
Coach, it's great to meet you.
Thanks, Jordy.
Thank you for the time.
Pleasure.
Yes, sir.
Sorry I'm a little late, boys. At the spring game, obviously, as you can see. A couple of booze cruises here to do. Let's do it. Cruise. Grand salami to the boys. Finally back on track. And I got another one coming. Don't you think I don't? And that's how we roll in Tiger Stadium.
Just watching the spring games that were on television, one thing that jumped out about your squad is your quarterback room is very talented compared to a lot of the league and a lot of the country. I wonder, is it easier to recruit that position when you have talent or when you don't have talent? Coach Kelly, we're official.
Finally,
I'm
get a
telling
chance to meet you. Thought I had to get a private audience with the Pope. There's Jordy.
Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. Yeah, you see the notification, we about to go live. We got all your favorite guests, we got them in line. It's the Jordy Culotta Show, come have a good time.
Clearing up, answering the question, I thought, my God, if she gets offered this job, she's going to take it.
It's just a crazy, fun time at LSU right now. Isn't this what everybody loves?
From the boot to the east to the west coast, no matter where we at, we live. Open up the phone lines, come and join the show. Make sure you tell your friends about Jordy Culotta Show. Yeah.
Let's go! Let's go!
All right.
Big day. Big day.
Nice start.
It's the Jordy Culotta Show, come have a good time.
Coach, it's great to meet you.
Thanks, Jordy.
Thank you for the time. All right, welcome into a Thursday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show live here on YouTube from our Click Here Digital Campus on this Thursday morning. If you don't mind, give us a like, share, and follow. Subscription before we get out of here at 9 a.m. Good show coming up today. Our phone line's always brought to you by Southern Regional Medical Center. Real doctors, real solutions. Shout out to Charlie Harvey, Jason Ramazan, and the crew. We'll talk to Billy Embody coming up here at 7:30 this morning. Big weekend recruiting. LSU in-home visit yesterday with Dominic McKinley, who is the one of the top defensive linemen in the state of Louisiana, pledged to Texas A&M. He was yesterday. Brian Kelly and Frank Wilson were in home with Dom McKinley. We will ask Billy Embody what that means and the possibility of flipping McKinley from A&M to LSU, like his counterpart Gabe Relaford last week was flipped from A&M down to the Tigers. Last night, the LSU football, along with the SEC schedule release, this thing has become enormous, man. December. NFL, I'm telling you, this is you're trending towards the NFL in college football. With last night, you saw the schedule release, and a lot of the release showed that there's a game every weekend, man. I mean, there is a big game every weekend in the conference, and we'll talk about some of the winners and the losers as far as the schedule release went last night. But LSU had their schedule released, and we'll react to that coming up here as well. We will also talk to Chris Blair in his regular Thursday spot. Will be through here at 8:15 this morning. Then Will Wade will be by here at 8:30 as Coach Wade back on the sidelines after a long extended time away from basketball and back yesterday with a win over Southern Miss.
642 days.
McNeese, wow. Over 2 years for Will Wade away from basketball and now back on the sidelines as he was there last night for McNeese. Big news in the NCAA yesterday as there was a judge in, I believe, Virginia who came and put a suspension on the transfer rule that keeps players who have transferred multiple times ineligible. So this is big and obviously affects LSU with Jalen Cook. Last night, Matt McMahon, after LSU's win, LSU basketball got a win last night at home versus Alabama State, that Jalen Cook will be eligible and will be on the floor Saturday versus Texas. So that's big news that we will talk about here coming up on the show. That was enormous, actually. I mean, we've talked about Cook and LSU missing a point guard, and now to get him into the fold in front of a big game coming up this weekend is big, good news for Matt McMahon and LSU basketball. So lots to get to over the next 2 hours. Stick around and hang out with us. Make sure and hit that like button, the share button, comment button, as we appreciate everybody starting their day here with us. All right, last night the schedules released in the league, and SEC Network isolates time on the network and puts. I mean, like it was huge, man. I mean, you've got some of your A-list talking heads sitting at the desk last night. Everybody reacting to the schedules that were released. And look, as we said, with the expansion of the conference and adding 2 new teams in Texas and Oklahoma, obviously the budget is going to go up as far as the television contract is concerned. Reports of a $1 billion deal between the SEC and ESPN and ABC and Disney, which is going to bring just a windfall of cash to the programs that are within the league. But it also is going to put pressure on the schedulers to make sure each and every weekend there's a marquee matchup that you can sell to advertisers and you can sell to viewers to push numbers and make sure everybody is getting their ROI and what's, you know, that they're spending in seven-figure ad deals throughout this network and throughout the conference. So last night LSU had their schedule released, and if you were watching the show yesterday, we told you what we had the information that we had gotten on the schedule, and it was exactly what we put out yesterday. LSU will open up versus USC in Vegas on September 1st. They will host Nicholls State on September 7th. They will travel to South Carolina, which will be a sneaky, nice little road game if you want to make a cool little road trip. Up to South Carolina on September 14th. They're back home versus UCLA on September 21st, and then they close out what will be a 5-game month in September for LSU versus South Alabama. So USC, Nicholls at South Carolina, hosting UCLA, home versus South Alabama, or the 5 straight weekends in September of LSU opening the 2024 season. They play both USCs, oddly enough. They play the West Coast USC in Vegas on opening weekend, and then they play the USC East Coast squad in South Carolina 2 weeks later on September 14th. So 5 games in the month of September. They open up the month of October with a bye. So that'll be October 5th, the first Saturday in October. They will be off. October 12th, LSU will host Ole Miss. On October 19th, They will travel to Arkansas on October 26th. They will travel to Texas A&M. Again, they will open up the month of November on a bye. So the first Saturday in November usually is always pegged for LSU Bama. In this sense, LSU and Bama will tee off on the second Saturday in November, as Bama will be in Baton Rouge on November 9th. And then LSU will close out the season in November on the 16th at Florida, the 23rd hosting Vanderbilt, and then the day after Thanksgiving, Oklahoma is going to be in town to close out the regular season. So a pretty stout schedule, a pretty attractive home schedule. But if you're looking at this, nearly each week, LSU is going to be in a matchup. They're going to be in a marquee game, right? And the ones that jump out, obviously, is the opener versus Southern California, as LSU and USC will be in Vegas playing on what's most probably going to be a primetime matchup between the Tigers and Trojans right there in the front of the college football season, again playing in front of a national audience. Bama's in town. Obviously, Oklahoma is in town the day after Thanksgiving. And then the shuffle, right? The way that the schedule was shuffled around. Texas A&M now is in late October. Arkansas is in mid-October. Florida is now in mid-November. It's just a different look to the schedule. No Auburn, no Mississippi State on LSU's schedule for the first time in, man, a long time when you're talking about Mississippi State. Maybe over 100 years. I mean, you're talking about one of the longest and oldest matchups in college football, as that one comes to a halt here with the new format in 2024. But it'll be the 100th year of Tiger Stadium that LSU will be celebrating next year, and they'll be doing it in front of a pretty healthy home schedule with teams like Oklahoma, Alabama, UCLA, all coming in, along with Ole Miss, as well as state schools like Nichols will be on the schedule as well. So we'll take your reaction to it. Obviously, you can jump inside the chat if you want to get the chat read. We would recommend that you use a super chat on and inside of our chat box on YouTube. But I got to be honest, I love the schedule as far as just the appeal of it. When you talk about the teams and the home schedule, look, we've done a show many of years when the schedule has been revealed of, is the ticket buyer getting all of what they're paying for. I mean, it's a hell of a commitment to commit and buy season tickets at LSU. There's a tradition fund. You got to pay the surcharge. You got to pay. Just the astronomical rates. I mean, look, they put a good product on the field, and that's what happens when you win. You're able to jack up the prices on tickets, and the fan base is going to follow. But in the 2024 edition of LSU football, you are getting your money's worth on season tickets at home. I mean, there's a marquee game each month when you're talking about LSU and who they will host. I mean, when you're in the month of September, you'll have UCLA here on September 21st. In October, Ole Miss will be here on October 12th. In November, you'll have both Alabama and Oklahoma a part of the home schedule. So highly competitive, but that's what it's going to be every single year now from here on out with the expansion. And look, I don't think that they're done expanding, so it's only going to get more competitive if they allow more teams in. Teams like Florida State, Miami, North Carolina, teams that have been in discussion of possibly joining in. Clemson to the SEC. This thing is only going to get more fierce. But the opening expansion schedule for LSU in the Southeastern Conference, not bad. I mean, it's not as bad as a school like Florida. As we'll talk about it for Billy Napier in year 3. He has to run a hell of a gauntlet to get to the finish line. But what do you think about LSU's?
LSU, I feel like, first of all, USC, a rivalry, 20 years in the making? from 2003/4, whenever I was growing up, you had like the FUSC bumper stickers that were going around because they tried to claim a national championship, but LSU had the crystal ball, and it became like almost a hate watch on the West Coast every time USC played. When they had Reggie, Matt Leinart, Mike Williams, like you name it, they had all of the stars, and it kept almost like this game that never got to be played that you wanted to see settle on the field. They were the AP #1. LSU had the championship trophy, and it just became this weird rivalry you never got to see. So I don't know if if there's people that, I was probably like 12 when that happened. So you're still probably around and still watching LSU football with the not that you would want to see LSU play USC just for a little bit, just to see the game happen. But other than that, as long as you didn't, I'm interested to see if somebody's going to get the shaft every year like Florida got. Like LSU avoids it this year. Alabama gets just cakewalk with their schedule. Georgia's finally introduced into the SEC with some West teams on their end. But for LSU, it feels like this kind of par for the course. And I think scheduling the out-of-conference games might have helped them. Having a USC on the schedule, having UCLA on the schedule, because you couldn't fill those with, the way that Alabama did it, they went easy out of conference, and then they still got easy SEC. I think LSU kind of got the benefit of the doubt when they set the schedule that, okay, you put USC and UCLA on your schedule. Here's a couple with that. You can get Vanderbilt, So I wonder if that's going to be something that they look at scheduling out of conference games if you're able to kind of find some wiggle room within the SEC that might help you a little bit down the road.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that for as far as the schedule went, it's appealing, and when you look kind of league wide, you definitely see that they gave teams like Georgia. I would say that Georgia behind Florida, and I'll give you Florida's schedule here. Florida's schedule is
you kind of got a break with Oklahoma too.
Yeah,
because Oklahoma just lost all 5 of their starting offensive linemen
and their quarterback,
right, and their offensive coordinator. So you'll be playing a completely different Oklahoma team. Now, their defense will be stout because they will get...
Especially by that time, Venables will have it figured out. It always does.
They're getting their top 2 returning defenders back, though. So take with that what you will.
No, I mean, look, if you would have said to LSU in the middle of this scheduling when it was going down, would you rather play Oklahoma or Texas? I think that you want to play Oklahoma.
Big Oklahoma.
10 out of 10 times you want to play the Sooners.
Because they had to put them on everybody's schedule, right? As their introduction into the SEC, they're like every team will get to play one of them like this year.
Yeah. For
2024. So it was really a 50-50 shot between Texas or Oklahoma.
Oklahoma plays Bama, LSU back-to-back weekends.
Yes.
Welcome to the league.
Get ready, dog.
Florida's schedule. Listen to this gauntlet. Florida opens up on the opening weekend, August 31st, playing Miami. Miami is in Gainesville for that one. They play Samford. Then they play Texas A&M at Mississippi State. They're home versus Central Florida. They travel to Tennessee. Kentucky is on the schedule next. Then they play Georgia, Texas, LSU, Ole Miss, and Florida State. In 5 straight games.
No bye.
5 straight weeks, no days off.
Get ready, coach.
They travel to, you can even throw Kentucky in there on the 19th. I mean, that's what they do have a bye in between Kentucky.
But you got to go Georgia in Atlanta.
And that's Georgia. Georgia's in Jacksonville.
Jacksonville.
It says in Atlanta.
No, it's
no.
I think they changed the location.
It's going to be the world's largest cocktail party.
Yeah, it's always there. Yeah. No, Florida, Georgia, and Jacksonville on November 2nd. Florida at Texas November 9th. LSU at Florida November 16th. Ole Miss in Gainesville November 23rd. And then Florida travels to Tallahassee on November 30th.
This is where Florida screwed themselves with the out-of-conference games.
Yeah.
You scheduled Miami and Florida State thinking this will give the people what they want. But whenever you look at how far out these games are scheduled, I don't think they anticipated going into the new SEC and this whole thing being thrown into one big pot, and it's pretty much you're playing Russian roulette every week. And for Florida, they have to play it 5 weeks in a row. Hey, there's 6 shots in that gun. You're not gonna get that lucky,
right?
I mean, especially for Billy, who's crawling the closet, he'll be a beaten man by the time he shows up to Florida State in Tallahassee.
I mean,
let's do it one more time, boys.
So they can't play the game in Jacksonville in 2026 or 2027 because Jacksonville is about to renovate their stadium. So it'll be in Atlanta or in Tampa.
They should do it like across the pond. Like, let's start following this NFL model. Let's go play with the Brits.
You're going to play at Wembley?
Wembley.
I mean, Florida State's playing in Dublin to start the season next year. They said they're doing.
I saw the NFL was sending a team to Brazil.
Yeah. Oh, that should go well, huh?
Should be a great assignment.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Georgia's schedule is.
Those people are going to go insane for a football game.
Yeah, they will. I thought Georgia too was somebody who's been skating by on the scheduling thing the last couple of years.
Yeah, if you want
the
something,
SEC was like, all right, welcome to it, man. They open up with Clemson in Atlanta on opening weekend. Then they're back at home to play Tennessee Tech. Then they travel to Kentucky, travel to Bama, host Auburn, Mississippi State, travel to Texas, have to play the Florida game in Jacksonville this year. Then they play at Ole Miss, host Tennessee, and got UMass and Georgia Tech to finish the year. I mean, that's not.
It's not to finish the year.
That's not a cakewalk, man.
But the September October slate is. That's where they
brutal.
Get real. Yeah, that's where it gets serious.
I mean, in back-to-back weekends, they have
Auburn and Alabama.
They got Alabama, Auburn, Mississippi State, and Texas in 4 straight games. And I'm not saying Mississippi State's going to do it, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but just in the middle of the pack there, that's probably, you'd rather play Tennessee Tech that weekend.
Yeah, you fall asleep after that Auburn game because that's going to be a physical game because isn't that a rival game?
Yeah,
Auburn
absolutely.
and Georgia. And then you go to, or Mississippi State comes to you and you're just like, damn, I guess we'll beat the hell out of Mississippi State today.
Mississippi State's on the fritz. So they got another. Well, I guess they make a good hire in Levy.
Yeah.
To kind of get their offense back right. But another first-year head coach for Mississippi State. That's going to be a bigger rebuild just from everything that you have to overcome whenever you were firmly entrenched in what Mike Leach was selling.
Do they have a quarterback yet?
Will Rogers has hit the portal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure Levy will find one.
I'd imagine Levy's pretty attractive to people. You know what I mean? I saw Malik Monk got the.
Malik Murphy.
I mean, Malik Murphy.
Monk.
Malik Monk is the
Basketball
player.
player.
Stud.
Kentucky.
Arkansas.
Kentucky.
He's from Arkansas, went to Kentucky, yeah. Where's he at now?
He plays
Sacramento?
Yeah,
Yes.
Sacramento. Him and
De'Aaron Fox.
De'Aaron Fox are
1-2.
Yeah.
Sports.
back to Kentucky. Coach.
But Malik Murphy, quarterback for Texas, entered the portal yesterday. And, man, this is one thing about the portal that I hate is the timing of it. Because, I mean, if you're Malik Murphy, and Steve Sarkisian said this yesterday, and you could sense, I mean, like he was annoyed, he was aggravated, he was, I mean, just at the situation that, a backup quarterback that they've had to depend on this season that have won 2 games with him under center while Quinn Ewers was knocked out, was on the mend, is now in the portal and having to step away from the program with the national semifinal and the potential championship game still out there. And from Murphy's standpoint, I mean, the timing of this where you're going into bowl prep, you're a snap away from being in the biggest game of your life. And you have to make this decision now on whether or not you want to hit the portal and transfer. And if you do, you're done. And from Murphy's standpoint, yesterday he made the choice that he was entering the portal, and his time at Texas is over. Meanwhile, Texas is in, massive bowl prep for the national semifinal and potential championship game where they've depended on Murphy. They've counted on him to win games this season. I know you can't, it's not perfect and you got to go through trial and error to get it right, but this to me is one that this can't be that difficult, right? I mean, like, they can't make these decisions. You can't slide back the calendar of the portal or even allow some of these these athletes to play even though they make a decision. I don't know what it is, but, I mean, the whole shakeup of the team within the year heading into the biggest game and losing what could be a key marquee player for you, man, this can't be the best way to do it, right? I mean, this can't be.
The timing of the window, that's what they give you.
I mean, couldn't he just be in the portal?
And I don't know
and play, or do you have to, like, you just don't say, like, you
I don't know how that
do
works.
the back channel
I
thing
mean,
that everybody knows.
I have not met one coach or heard one coach say that when a player comes to him and says, I'm going into the portal, that they're going to give you grace and say,
actually,
you can stay around. Yeah, give me one. I'd love to hear it.
Last year at Georgia, Kirby Smart said that he had some guys that told him before they got into
the portal
playoff prep that they were going to enter the portal after the season, but he allowed them to stay on the roster until after the season was over. So he allowed them to, like, do the bowl prep, do the national championship prep, and all that.
Did they put their name in the portal?
They put their name in the portal after.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
but, I mean, he still they let him know before.
Yeah, but they didn't let the world know.
Right, but the public didn't.
No.
Yeah, and I mean,
and he,
for whatever, I mean, like there's obviously a sense of urgency, and timing is huge on this, but there has to be a better way where you don't shake up the national semifinals with the potential of losing this type of player.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's probably the best backup in the.
He's the best backup in the country.
Yeah,
I would say him and Nussmeier are the two best backups in the country.
Yeah,
I mean, the quarterback room going into the year, Texas and LSU,
best two.
Can't
even name another.
And I would say
Ole Miss.
Ole Miss is up right there.
Yeah,
I mean, Ole Miss is right there.
Alabama, Tyler Buckner's right there for you.
I guess.
Saw that experience.
Lacrosse.
Yeah, back to Notre Dame.
Back to my roots, though.
Yeah, play the sport. But, I mean, there's some quotes from Malik Murphy in this article that was written by Pete Thamel. He's always on the case. He said, I hate it. I'm super invested in this team. Everything we've done along the way and all the work we've put in together, it's hard to walk away, especially at this point in the season. I don't think it's something that he wanted to do. But when you look at all of the factors that go into it, like we were talking before the show, like waiting for the other portal to open, he has to do it now so he can go play spring ball and become a starter, because at the end of the article he goes, I mean, I just want to be in a position where I can play.
Yeah.
I don't want to be waiting around and see what happens or anything like that, because he's talking about Quinn Ewers, who could possibly go to the draft. That's another thing where if you have Quinn Ewers who says, I'm going to the NFL draft, then Malik Murphy probably stays.
Team to watch here is USC. He's from California.
I could see that. Now that USC LSU game gets ramped up to 10.
Yeah. I mean,
that's the last thing you want to see.
That would be the
if you're LSU, you're selling Jayden Daniels.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the model you're looking for the next guy.
Yeah, you got to be selling Jayden Daniels.
And I mean, this is the one.
But we all know what it's going to come down to. Money.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I mean, who has the better deal?
You're right. Remember, Daily, we're brought to you by Go Roof, online at GEAUXroof.com. Go Roof, get in touch with them online or call them at 225-927-8300. Go Roof can help you with a residential or commercial roofing today. They can even help you with roofing repairs. They'll jump up on the roof for you, diagnose your problems, and work directly with the insurance companies to help you through the process. Go Roof, a beautiful roof every single time. Roof's up with our friends over at Go Roof, 225-927-8300, 225-927-8300, and online at GEAUXroof.com. Go Roof. Give them a call today if you have any problems. Get some rain coming through this weekend, so heads up. If you have some leaks that you know about, if you want to get some things looked at before the rain comes through, get in touch with Go Roof, 225-927-8300, 225-927-8300 is the phone number.
Chilly.
Yes, I do know that Malik Murphy is not a dual threat quarterback. But
have you seen him throw the ball?
Yeah, you're just selling the numbers of Jayden Daniels, and I mean I do think that is something that LSU is looking for. But I would say that Malik Murphy now has become the biggest name in the portal.
Cam
right?
Law.
Yeah, from Washington State.
Cam Ward, yeah. Washington State, who has now floated out the idea, which is excellent money play. I could just go to the league.
Yeah, the NFL players.
Just bid you against the draft.
But he did say that he'll probably just visit Florida State and Miami. And, then he was like, I'm probably not going to do any visits after that. So he'll probably just stay in the state of Florida. So it'll probably be Florida State or Miami.
I would imagine Miami after they lose.
Tyler Van Dyke.
Well, he went to Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Yeah, that suits him.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The bright lights of Miami seem to have gotten to old man Dyke.
Right.
And people really care about football. He did.
He started
for
great.
434 in a game. And then it just all went to hell.
I mean, they beat the hell out of A&M at the beginning of the year.
They did. We got Billy?
Yeah, got Billy.
All right, let's get to the phone lines here. Southern Regional phone lines as we talk to Billy Embody each week from On 3. Big news yesterday.
Beat about Terry Bussey.
Yes. Big news yesterday in recruiting, especially here locally, Bill, is that Brian Kelly and Frank Wilson making an in-home visit with Don McKinley, who is another top target here in the state on the defensive line. He's pledged to Texas A&M. We saw Gabe Relaford flip a couple of weeks back. He'll be enrolled here in the next couple of days here at LSU. What's the latest on McKinley, and how did yesterday go?
Yeah, it went really well. That is the thing with the McKinley family is it's kind of been touch and go in terms of the interest that they've kind of showed in LSU. And Shay Dixon, who is working with me on the Bengal Tiger, had a great interview that's going to be up on the site today with Angie McKinley, the mother of Dominic and Darius. And she really said that, for the first time, or not the first time, but for a large portion of their chat, Brian Kelly, Frank Wilson did a great job having the guys feeling comfortable. And maybe it was, that it was casual and in their home and things like that, or just that now kind of the whole process is back open again, and maybe they're rethinking things with the coaching changes in College Station. All of those things may be factoring in, but they had a great time in their in-home visit with Coach Kelly and Coach Wilson, and that's all you can ask for if you're LSU. He's going to take his process to February. He's going to play things out, see how the coaching situations at multiple schools play out, and then try to make a final decision. So if you're Brian Kelly, for Frank Wilson, they did a great job, and it seems like LSU is going to still be in the mix going forward, and you can just hope that LSU gets one of those official visits in January before National Signing Day, and he would be a heck of a land for LSU. Position of need. They have Gabe Relaford, who's a really, really talented and productive player who can start out on kind of a strong side defensive end, maybe grow into a 3-tech, but Dominic McKinley is a true defensive tackle who had to play some nose for Acadiana, had to play out on the edge a little bit at the college level. With his size, with his athleticism, he'll take some time to develop, and you would think that he would be able to turn out to be a heck of a football player, and it'd be big for LSU if that was in the state of Louisiana.
Bill, you mentioned it a couple of times there, how big it would be if they could close with both Relaford and McKinley. When you talk about these two prospects, specifically McKinley, break his game down for us a little bit. Who is he?
Yeah, he is somebody that is kind of in that Mason Smith realm where he is so tall, so long, and athletic that I think he's just still developing all of his skill set. And defensive linemen in particular, a lot of people want to hone in on offensive linemen taking a while to develop. And I think defensive linemen get overshadowed by maybe some pass rushing specialists and getting those guys, 15, 20 snaps, maybe a game early on in their career if they're going to be eventually a difference-making defensive lineman. But those defensive tackles, they take time to develop. And with Dominic McKinley, you would hope that he comes into a weight room and puts on 25 pounds at the college level, and he wears 275 pounds really well. Like, he looks like kind of a strong side defensive end, but he really is a true defensive tackle. And for Acadiana, like I said, they moved him all up and down the line. I think teams certainly double-teamed him, sometimes triple-teamed him this year. It's hard to go at the high school level every snap as a defensive lineman and play as hard as you do or should, and especially at the expectation of the Acadiana program. So he had a solid senior year. We actually kind of did a deep dive on him because we were the first to have him as the number one prospect in Louisiana. We moved him all the way up. He was in 5-star range. In one of the latest updates, he kind of trimmed back just a little bit, but one of the big conversations is is it Gabe Relaford, is it Trey Green, is Dominic McKinley still in the mix for the number one prospect in Louisiana? And our rankings team, and from what we've been able to gather, I'm watching his tape back, he was very good this season at Acadiana and deserves to be well inside the top 100. So, he is a difference maker. When he can get some opportunities to play his true defensive tackle spot, I think he's going to be special.
Bill, I was in the Dome over the weekend. Trey Green, going to be tough to bump him out of that top spot.
100%.
But as far as the Superdome goes, had a lot of prospects on hand, a lot of guys making plays. Juwan Johnson was there. Trey Green was there. Ahmad Bro was there. James Simon was a huge performer for Calvary on Friday. What was your reports of the Dome? What did you hear from some of the guys that were there?
Yeah, I think probably the biggest takeaway was James Simon. I think his whole season, I saw him early on against Westgate. He's just physical. He's the total package. He reminds me of Ty Davis, maybe kind of a little. He's still a year out from making his final signature for college, but kind of a little trimmer than Ty was coming out of Southern Lab, but can do all of that physicality, has some speed, is relentless in terms of his effort to continue to pick up yards. He kind of finds ways to slither out of tackles. I think James Simon is everybody likes to pay attention to Harlem Berry because of the speed and that elite level of production, and rightfully so. I think James Simon is right up there with him, and so I'm expecting him to have another big offseason, another big season, and it wouldn't shock me if he was right up there challenging Harlem Berry for the number one spot in the country. And Trey Green just continues to show all the hard work that he put in, being a transfer going into this year, buying in, putting on weight, and then just being able to dominate with his physicality. So a lot of good takeaways from the Dome, as always, but those were two that stood out to me.
You mentioned Harlem Berry. He's set to announce on Monday. LSU getting good news?
Yeah, LSU sits in a really good spot for Harlem Berry, and we expect the pick to be the Tigers at this point. We'll kind of see what the plan is there for Harlem Berry. There's been some buzz around moving it slightly back, kind of moving it around. He hasn't finalized that, so we haven't really changed the date or done anything like that yet publicly with him. But since you asked, there is some buzz about him maybe changing his announcement plans and doing it on a bigger stage. So we'll kind of stay tuned. But if he does end up announcing on Monday, then it'll be good news for LSU. And even if he moves his decision date around, we expect it to be good news for LSU for sure.
Terry Bussey is another guy in this cycle that people are looking at. He seems to be kind of going through another evaluation process. Where does LSU stand with Bussey?
Yeah, LSU's right up there for Terry Bussey, and I think he's had a good eye toward LSU, and he's been committed to A&M. He's still committed to A&M, and he's going through the process of meeting who would be his new coaches in College Station. He won a state championship last year, last night, set a couple records in that game as well in Texas. So he did it with an A&M sticker and gloves on. So, if you're into glove watching and sticker watching, there you go.
Some LSU gloves on in there. He popped some.
Oh, did he change them out? Yep. Pre-game they were A&M, so he must have changed them then.
He had the A&M sticker on his helmet.
Quick change at
He's
half,
got the
Coach.
pit stop crew. He's got the pit stop crew. But Kerry Cooks was there watching him. A&M was also watching him. So that just shows that LSU isn't going to give up here, and they shouldn't. If they could find a way to get Terry Bussey away from Texas A&M, what a safety haul it would be. I don't know. I haven't looked at the other safety hauls across the country, but if LSU were to get Terry Bussey, that's a trio with Deshaun McBride and Joel Rogers that would have to be right up there with tops in the country. If you could get a 5-star, if you can get a top 100 player in Deshaun McBride and another top, I think, 250 player in Joel Rogers. I mean, that'd be pretty salty. So LSU is going to keep swinging there. It wouldn't surprise me if he made it back for another visit in January if he does, in fact, take things past the early signing period. But he does have this weekend to make some visits or a visit if he wants to. But it seems like he is, in fact, going to take it to February. So things can always get interesting there.
Bussy put on a show last night, the state title game in Texas. In fact, set a couple of state records as he ran for a 93-yard touchdown and threw for a 97-yard touchdown, both in the first half last night. As he put on a hell of a performance in the state title game for his squad, who won the 2A title last night. All right, for another, he won Mr. Texas football last year. Xavier Atkins is up for it this year. Atkins spent his first 3 years in Louisiana. Now he's over in a suburb of Houston. Atkins had an incredible final year, right?
Yeah, and he is going to have a chance to cap it off with the first state championship for Humble ISD on Saturday. They played DeSoto in the late game on Saturday at AT&T Stadium in Arlington there. So he's got a big stage. He has a team that has really played some really good physical football this year. I mean, that Summer Creek defense is really, really strong. Xavier's been a guy that we moved up into the on 300 because of his senior year. And that was kind of the question going into his senior year was, all right, he is this raw, productive prospect at Jonesboro Hodge and was just able to kind of dominate, the competition he faced. But he was kind of doing it, see ball, get ball. There wasn't as much technique to it. And he was just physically superior on many levels to a lot of the players he'd play against. Now he goes to Summer Creek in, one of Texas's highest classifications, and he has just been all over the field. I went and saw him this fall. He had a pretty much pick six. They called him down at the half-yard line, but he might have gotten in and had a bunch of tackles and is just kind of all over the place and plays with passion, plays with reckless abandon, really just for both opposing players and from his own body. So he is really, really talented. He is a guy that I think we could see maybe move up a little bit more. But what a prestigious honor if he could reel it in. It'll be tough to unseat some of the guys he's up against, but for him to be as a finalist for that award, I think he's the only linebacker. Wouldn't shock me if he's the only defensive player too. That speaks volumes about what he's been able to do this year for Summer Creek.
Bill, another defensive back just jumped in the portal with Louisiana ties. North Louisiana, former Bossier High standout DeCameron Richardson over at Mississippi State has entered the portal. Is this going to be the same plan for LSU? You think they're going to go after these guys with Louisiana ties that are directly in the portal that feel like they have and play at positions of need?
Yeah, absolutely. And DeCameron's somebody that back when we were at 24/7, the rankings team recognized how good he was, and I believe they bumped him up to a 4-star right there at the end. And he signed with State. He's been there, and now he's in the portal. And the thing for LSU, though, is they're going to have to work fast. He is a May guy, but I don't know how long he wants his process to go. The early buzz is Oregon and Texas A&M are going to duke this one out, and that's from college coaches kind of around the country that really wanted to get in on DeCameron Richardson. Because he is, a one-year guy who would be an instant starter for most schools around the country. And so there's a lot of different colleges that are trying to get angles in there, and LSU is one of them. But he entered the portal and flew right to Oregon. So that is something to watch there. We'll see kind of if LSU can get him in before things go dead. And then on top of that, we'll see if he takes it out into the spring and gets recruited in January and February and kind of beyond. So an instant impact player, a one-year guy who a lot of people had as a kind of a top 3-round NFL draft pick. And LSU has to work quickly to get him on campus and hope that he doesn't want to extend this process long and can get him to lock in and come play for the Tigers.
Speaking of wide receivers or portal, transfer portal, LSU had a wide receiver on campus, Jamori Macklin from North Texas, earlier this week. What are they looking at as far as experienced wideouts with guys like Neighbors and Thomas most probably on the move?
Yeah, I think one thing they want to do is address the punt return position, and Macklin did commit to Kentucky this week, but it's Xavier Thomas that is really emerging as the top guy for LSU at this point, and he's talented, he's got speed, he's now produced in a bad Mississippi State offense. I think he had 500 yards receiving this year, and so the thought is you get him into LSU's offense, and maybe he can be a little bit more productive and more of a difference maker. Last year there was rumors that LSU would go in on Xavier Thomas and instead went with Aaron Anderson, and now a year later Xavier Thomas in the portal and looking at his options, and it seems like LSU is going to reel him in. There was some buzz around some other schools, but all signs right now as of this interview do point to LSU getting him on board.
All right, Billy. As the world turns here in recruiting, this is kind of one of these early pushes. Anything expected before next Wednesday? I know next Wednesday is the early signing period. Anything you're watching as far as LSU is concerned, or maybe a potential shakeup?
Honestly, not really. The only things we're watching is, every year there are guys that say, okay, I'm going to take things into February, and then they don't. Are any of the guys LSU's after going to be ones that do that? You've got Dominic McKinley, you've got Terry Bussey. Will they change plans and maybe sign early somewhere? I mean, that's always a possibility. It doesn't seem like they're going to, but it's always something to watch. And then LSU is going to bring in Cohen Eccles, who's a former Texas A&M commit on the offensive line, for an official visit this weekend. We'll see if anything develops from there, but he is going to come in on campus, and he told us that he's excited about it. He's had an eye towards LSU since they offered him, but committed to Texas A&M. That was kind of the school that was way out in front of that one early on. And now with the coaching change, he's reevaluating things, and we'll see. Auburn's also a threat there, but LSU has a really good offensive line class. I don't know if they're going to bring him in and maybe just kind of feel things out as far as what could happen between the two sides, or if it's just going to kind of be a non-story going forward with the early signing period approaching. But those are probably the three guys we're watching at this point down the stretch.
Billy, what'd you make of the news yesterday of the NCAA lifting the ban on multiple transfer guys? How does that affect LSU, obviously, with Jalen Cook?
Yeah, it is a wild. This whole transfer portal thing and the waivers and this and that are just so wild. I've got a lot of thoughts on the whole situation, but Jalen Cook is expected to be available on Saturday for LSU per Matt McMahon last night. So that's a good thing. And it is a 14-day window for transfer waivers to be unenforceable with the ruling in the court. So it's a bizarre situation. I don't know what's next with it, but it's just another saga with the NCAA that is just it's just insane how it's gotten to this point.
Last one, Bill. Malik Murphy yesterday entered his name in the portal. Texas's backup quarterback. What do you think the market is for him, and how much is his phone blowing up over the last 10 hours?
Yeah, the market is insane. I mean, most high-level transfer quarterbacks are going to command $1 million, and that's the reality of it. When you have a guy like Malik Murphy who's now got some tape out there, he's got years left. It's going to be a competitive market. LSU is inquiring about a lot of transfer portal quarterbacks just to maybe address the position. It's got to be the right fit. It's got to be the right guy who wants to come in and come into a position that has Garrett Nussmeier coming back. And that's something that's important. And LSU also doesn't want to disrupt Ricky Collins, and Colin Hurley enrolls in January, and you're right in the thick of the Bryce Underwood sweepstakes. So LSU's in a very particular position with the quarterback transfer market this year, and so they have to find a right fit if they're going to bring a guy in. And I don't think Malik Murphy is going to be that guy. I'd love to be surprised. He'd be a nice addition to the room just from a talent and depth perspective, but they're trying to figure out find a guy, but it's got to be a really specific fit, and it's got to go the right way.
This is the last one, Bill, I promise. Chase Bacentis, offensive lineman, in with LSU, late in the process, ended up going to A&M, played a lot for the Aggies here in his first year. He entered the portal last week. LSU, I know, showing interest.
Yeah, they're showing some interest. There is some buzz that he's going to get closer to home now, either Ohio State, Michigan, Syracuse, but he's another guy that will have a heavy market for. He's got multiple years left. He played a ton for the Aggies this year. He probably played out of position. I think he was their starting right tackle, if I'm remembering correctly. He should be along the interior, in my opinion, at least. So LSU, if they were to address the offensive line, the interior is probably where they'd want to do it. We'll see if anything comes from that. But the early buzz out of Bacentis' camp is that he might want to get closer to New Jersey, where he's from. But we'll see.
Thank you, Bill. Good to see you. We'll talk again soon.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
There he is, Billy Embody, checking in from On3 this morning. The latest on what's happening in recruiting as they're in the teeth of it right now. LSU in home yesterday with Don McKinley. Things seem to go good with the big defensive tackle, big defensive lineman out of Acadiana. So we'll wait and see. Make sure and get over to On3 to keep up with the latest in recruiting. Daily, we're brought to you by Hebert's Specialty Meats. Hebert's Specialty Meats, of course, located right here, Highway 73 in Prairieville and in Baton Rouge off of Highland Road in Robert's Grocery Store is where you can find Hebert's. Remember, Hebert's has great gift card specials right now. For every $100 that you spend on gift cards, they will give you a $25 gift card for free over at Hebert's. Stop in and see them today. Baton Rouge, Robert's location off of Highland inside the grocery store over there. They can take care of you with the turduckens, with the turkeys. Great seasoned meat here for the holidays to pick up, ready to go. Online at Hebert's. Hebert's.com, or you can find them on Facebook. Remember the gift card specials. Great gift ideas for you out there. For every $100 you spend on gift cards, $25 gift card you'll get for free that you can give away. So great for employees, great for just gift ideas. Hebert's Specialty Meats. Remember them around the holidays. Baton Rouge and out in Prairieville on Highway 30. Good stuff from Billy Embody. Second hour, Chris Blair is going to be here. We're also going to talk to Will Wade. Coach Wade made his debut back on the sidelines last night. We'll talk to him about what it was like getting back out there. LSU basketball last night beat Alabama State at home 74-56. Actually ended up on SportsCenter's top 10 last night. LSU basketball, as Trey Hannibal, I believe, was the third best play on an alley-oop run-out dunk for the Tigers. So that's good to see, man. Last night was benefiting the Wade Sims Foundation, who was honored at halftime. Yesterday would have been Wade's 26th birthday, and LSU scored 44 points in the second half, which is pretty cool. His dad and now late father, Wayne, wore number 44 with Shaq in the late 80s, early 90s. Wade was a standout at University High on campus and then went over to LSU. Was a 2-year player before he was tragically murdered before his third season. And both of those guys wore 44, and last night LSU scored 44 points in the second half on what was Wade Sims Foundation, a tribute to Wade last night inside the arena, inside of the Maravich Center. So it was cool for that to be. I know Miss Faye was there, Faye Sims, who actually saw earlier this week, and just what a time, man, for her to lose her husband and her son within such a short window. Very tragic and sad, but you could see the smiles for her last night. It was good to be over at the Maravich Center and on a cool night where they scored 44 points in the second half for LSU and got the win, 74-56, and got more good news after the game.
Yes,
that Jalen Cook is going to be eligible to play on Saturday, as LSU is going to head over to Houston and play an 11 a.m. game on Saturday against Texas. That'll be inside the Toyota Center where the Rockets play. So LSU is going to be in a big one on Saturday morning, and they'll have their point guard back in Jalen Cook for his first piece of action this season. And like I said, that is big news. I mean, when you're curious about what's going on with LSU, why they've struggled maybe in getting the ball into sets or the turnovers. They've struggled with turnovers mightily throughout the start of the season. I mean, quite frankly, they just hadn't had their guy. They hadn't had their point guard. And like, I'm not saying that Jalen Cook's going to make them a tournament team overnight, but he's at least going to bring a lot of stability to the offense, to the sets, to the program of him just being out there. He's got great experience. He's one of your best ball handlers. He's obviously a scorer, a guy who's averaging 20+ coming back over from Tulane. I mean, it's going to be big to have him on the floor for LSU, back out there leading, and I think it'll take a lot of pressure off of a lot of people with him being in the lineup. And
well, the craziest thing about it is that he's been practicing with the team the entire time, so there shouldn't feel like a big transition period. Obviously, live basketball is different than practice ball, but they've been playing together is what I'm saying. And I don't know if that's affecting what the team looks like right now, if you're practicing with a guy that's not going to be able to be on the team up to this point, especially at a position like point guard. But if you get him back, and through all accounts, he could have played last night because the ruling came before the game. But I think McMahon was trying to do right by the SEC, play it safe. But I would not be surprised to see him get some time against Texas on Saturday.
So on Wednesday, he's definitely playing. He's definitely going to play. U.S. District Court Judge John Bailey issued a temporary restraining order yesterday against the NCAA rule requiring multi-time transfers to sit out a season. The ruling, which came in the Northern District of Court of West Virginia, opens the door for transfers sidelined due to NCAA rules now becoming immediately eligible. And this is fantastic. I mean, really, this is the type of stuff that should have been happening to the NCAA. Bring these people in front of a court of law. Get them in front of the courts, in front of the legal system, and
make them answer to somebody.
Yeah, none of this stuff holds up. Well, why do you think you can tell them that they can't play? Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It's because we want to enforce these rules, and they're like, well, I mean, you know what? By the letter of the law, what's legally, here you go, third best play on SportsCenter right here. Look at him.
Still want to see him at running back.
This is illegal. You can't tell somebody they can't participate in intercollegiate athletics just because you told them so. On some backroom rule that you can't even prove of why it was written. This is America. Do what they want. I mean, just like the general student, the general study student can transfer as many times as she or he wants to during their 4-5 year run in college, so should the athlete. And you have no jurisdiction on being able to tell them that they can't. So get out of here. I mean, the NCAA and this stuff it's such a sham. I mean, it's such a house of cards.
Well, now you're messing with people's money. From all of the accounts that were player driven, it was players that were saying, I have NIL deals, I'm not able to get my fair worth or what I signed for because I'm not able to compete. And that's when you start violating antitrust law. Like the NCAA, if you're withholding somebody from being able to compete in the market, or you're trying to garnish wages, or you're not letting somebody participate in making money, you're breaking the law. And so that's where the NCAA needs to be very careful with what they're doing and how flippantly they're ruling, because the lawsuits are piling up.
And you don't want to get this NIL stuff really in front of the courts, because it's not being administered like it's defined. Name, image, and likeness is we are, as the athlete, deserve the cut of what we're making the university, what we're making the NCAA. So all of these other deals that are popping up nobody at the university or the NCAA is cutting these athletes the checks. It's the sponsors. It's the Gordon McKernans. It's the It's the ones that are signing the NIL deals. So really, by the letter of the law, name, image, and likeness is not functioning to the definition. I mean, they want the cut of their name, image, and likeness is being used throughout the broadcast, throughout the games, throughout
in commercials,
the program, exactly. So it's a very slippery slope that the NCAA, I would imagine, really does not want. They do not want to
peeking too far behind the curtain,
too far down the line on this, because a lot like what happened yesterday, where Judge John Bailey is like, nah, this is no way, man. This is give me a moment to look at this, but in the meantime, I'm suspending this.
Yeah.
Like,
can't be
this
right.
is a restraining order. Whoever is ineligible is immediately eligible right now for the next 2 weeks. And I imagine that will be extended and longer, because the more you dive into it, they're going to be like, this is...
Well, and because of how flippantly they were allowing one player to transfer and play, another one that can't. JT Daniels he made every college stop across the 50 states.
He played in every Power 5 conference.
And Jalen Cook can't go back to the school he started. One transfer back. Like, two-time transfer, nope, can't do it. You have to reestablish where you have to have, residence in the state and what you're trying to transfer to for a certain amount of time. And it's like, I don't think JT, unless he lived in all these places before, family must be, we got our,
I don't think
we got our
Daniels
summer home over
West
here.
Virginia.
Yeah.
Daniels.
I mean, that's the story.
Yeah.
And then when you get even further into NIL, I was listening to Matt Rule talk about this, because obviously he goes from Carolina, where he's like, that place was something else, to Nebraska. And now he's talking about, they're asking about the differences in, kind of managing a football team in professional football now with NIL and college football. And he was saying the NIL stuff is still very murky, especially for a school like Nebraska where people want to help. And he was saying they can make this a whole lot easier by allowing the schools to help set up these deals, because they're having to do it through all the back room. And he's like, this is where it gets shady. Y'all are making it shady.
There's still a cheating aspect to it.
Right. I don't know who's paying. You have to, and then we can't be in contact with, we can't know where the money's coming from.
Right.
And so he's like, if you just let the schools get involved, we could set up the deals for you. And it wouldn't be, hey, he's not paying me, but he's like, I don't know anything about that. And instead could just be very uniform across the board. Hey, talk to him. He works for the school. Boom, bang, here's your check. Get out of here.
Remember our friends over at SNL Pest Services, Shelton and the crew over at SNL. You can get in touch with them today. Quite easy online, snlpest.com, slpest.com for SNL Pest Services, both commercial and residential services for you. Get in touch with Shelton today. Call him, 225-262-0496, 225-262-0496 for SNL Pest Services today, Shelton and the crew. All right, hour 2 next. Come back with us. We'll talk to Chris Blair coming up at 8:15, and Will Wade will stop by at 8:30. Tell us what it was like being back last night on the sidelines, coaching the Pokes, as we'll come back. Hour 2 right here live from our Click Here Digital Campus.
Hey, Chino. Cut my headphones up, bro. Yeah, right there. Now I'm focused on getting deposits.
Okay, Gordon, ready to talk a little bit about yourself today? Okay, good. Tell us, who is Gordon McCurdy?
Great question. In a lot of ways, I'm just like most people. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm a son. I am a brother. I'm a Christian. I am a Tigers fan. I am a Louisiana sportsman. But above all, I am grateful to the people of Louisiana. We want to be your lawyers for life. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and in every Louisiana house, all the creatures were stirring.
Santa's coming.
Even the mouse. The stockings were hung, the cookies were out. Santa was on his way to Louisiana, there was no doubt. So let's celebrate the season and start the new year off right. Merry Christmas to all, and to all, a good night.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
Well, it was Christmas Eve. Santa Claus was riding in his sleigh. He was packed with toys for the girls and boys, merrily on his way. When a Grinch riding on a reindeer pulled right. Santa Claus got Gordon, got it done.
Merry Christmas from Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys.
Missing us! Missing us! Let's be special! Let's be strong! Let's smell greatness! From the top! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
Offensive player of the game from LSU, Joe Burrow.
Football is life. Football is Joe Burrow.
If you're in the market for a mortgage lender, you need to start with Doug Bickley and his team. Bickley has built a crew with over 50 years of combined lending experience. They've been in business for over 20 years, and they love helping their clients achieve the American dream of home ownership. They're also key with working in real estate agents and helping their clients getting same-day pre-approval. They average about one buyer a day getting them in a home. If you want to get in touch with Doug and his crew, it's easy. Call them 225-214-5154. 225-214-5154. Go see the Bickley team today. They're located on the corner of Coursey Boulevard and Sherwood Forest right here in Baton Rouge.
What's up?
What's happening?
Chilling with a couple of cool guys. You?
Chilling and watching some tube. Hold on. Did you do it? Hold on. Did you do it?
Roof's up.
Hold on.
Roof's up.
Roof's up.
Roof's up.
Hold on. Hold on. Hold on.
Beautiful roof every single time.
True. True.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Head health is incredibly important for our student athletes. One of the best ways we're trying to address concussions is on the front end. We're trying to prevent these before they happen. And a big part of that is speaking to the athletes, letting them know what to expect. Okay, speaking to the parents, what to look out for, talking to the coaches so they know the vital importance. Some of the big things we're looking for with a concussion, which is, a traumatic brain injury, is one, was there a mechanism? Was there an injury that took place that could lead to this? Often a direct blow to the head, a head-to-head hit. If someone's showing signs of concussion, our first step is always to remove them from activity, get them to a place where there's less stimuli, where we can really just sit down and get a feel for the athlete, what they're feeling. We're looking for headache, we're looking for dizziness, any sign that coordination is off, that something's just not right. Get a good evaluation of them to understand what's going on. It's not worth the risk that may be there to kind of ignore it, because there are very serious consequences if we don't treat a concussion properly.
Don't let concerns about shifts in the market disrupt your long-term financial goals. Edward Jones financial advisor Daniel Newman can help. He'll work with you on an investment strategy for long-term results. Edward Jones can give you the tools and knowledge for a steady approach to hitting your financial targets. Get started today by calling Daniel Newman at 225-261-8262. 225-261-8262. Edward Jones, member SIPC. Click Here Digital, the home of the Jordy Culotta Show. Online at clickheredigital.com. If you're looking to set Google ads, set social media campaigns, learn about SEO, display video, or even creative, Click Here Digital has the answer for you. Online at clickheredigital.com or email me directly, Jordy at clickheredigital.com.
Evil in the way, now I'm just driving around it. They said I need a soul searching, I already found it. I unlocked my other side, now I'm sounding astounded. Drive by and let it ride like I'm whipping a Tesla. Pressure never fazed me, cause I'm bigger than pressure. I'm on my grind, bullshit, can't fit on my schedule. I'ma do what's best with me, you can keep all your lectures. Spend the summer stacking bread, might be gone to November. Pulling up like Trey Young just to freeze up December. I got niggas on the block like traditional sinners. OGs love me, so I hang with traditional winners. I took a break for a minute, I had to go charge up. Had to focus on my business, I'm coming back smarter. Hit up DJ, tell him go like I'm dropping the Carter. Coming back like KD, it's time to go harder. Bounce back, can't let you fold up. Keep pushing, can't let you slow up. Bounce back, can't let you fold up. Keep pushing, can't let you slow up. Bounce back, can't.
All right, welcome back here. Second hour, Jordy Culotta Show. Appreciate you starting your day here with us. Like, share, follow, subscribe before we get out of here. 9 a.m. Will Wade going to stop by here in about 20 minutes. Coach back on the sidelines last night for the Pokes. Been away from the game for over 600 days. We'll ask him what it was like to be back. We'll also get his thoughts on the new waiver from the NCAA, making everybody eligible who's transferred multiple times, at least in this next 2-week window, open for business, and that includes Jalen Cook, the point guard for LSU. He did not play last night, expected to go on Saturday, as LSU will be in Houston taking on Texas. That'll be an 11 a.m. kickoff. You can catch that on the LSU Sports Radio Network, just like you caught last night's game. And Chris Blair back with us in studio here on this Thursday morning. Boys, good morning. How are you?
I'm good, man. Good. I had to take the week off last week. I appreciate you guys letting me do so.
No problem.
And also want to thank you for letting me come back. No problem. You didn't just dismiss me.
Add value to the show.
Anyway,
got you a waiver.
It's good to be back, man.
That's right.
Good to be back.
That's right. Tigers win last night. They end up on SportsCenter's top 10 with Hannibal's reverse alley-oop, open floor. Man, it looks good last night. Tell me what you thought about last night's win for LSU, and then obviously the news of Jalen Cook looking like he might go on Saturday.
Well, I mean, I think it was probably one of the worst 20 minutes to start the game. LSU shot the ball, I think, fairly well, but they were getting destroyed on the glass. They had 9 first-half turnovers. And they found themselves down 34-30 to Alabama State. And then it was just a tale of 2 different halves. Second half, it looked like a team that A, had energy, and B, had a sense of urgency, and played as a team. I mean, there was more ball movement. They came out firing threes to start that game, and they were about to build a Taj Mahal with the bricks they were laying. It was like, this is not who we are. What are we doing here?
Right.
And again, I've said it all season, and Coach McMahon has talked about it, and I certainly yield to John Brady when it comes to basketball knowledge. This team shoots the ball well when there's ball movement side to side and really inside out. There's not a lot of guys on this team that create shots from 20-plus feet off the dribble. They're just not. And so in the second half, we saw some of that, and then some shots started to go down. They played much better defense. I like the backcourt combination of Trey Hannibal and Mike Williams.
Yeah.
I think Mike had tied a season and career high with 15 points last night, and without him early in that second half, kind of going on a spark, who knows what happens in that game. But I think both Mike and Trey had moments last night where they just, gave a shot of adrenaline to the team. And I like the way they play. You know what you're going to get with Hannibal is, like we say all the time, he doesn't try to do things he can't do. He kind of knows his role.
Yeah.
And I think we're starting to see Mike Williams flourish as a true freshman, getting a little more confident. He turned down some shots in the first half that, Coach McMahon talked about with us after the game that he took in the second half, and we're able to knock him down. So, I think it was, if you can bottle up what you saw in the second 20 minutes, I think you got a competitive team. I am convinced this is a team that has some really good pieces. I don't think there's any elite players on this roster, but they really haven't played together as a team. And, there never really felt like, until last night, that there was kind of a 5 or 6 man rotation that felt good. And I think that's what we saw in the second half. Hopefully, they're able to carry that over, because, they're taking on a 7-2 Texas team on Saturday morning. Number one, I don't know how big the crowd will be. I know it's Houston. I know LSU's got a lot of fans. I know Texas, all that, but it's 11 a.m. So you're going to have to create your own energy. And if there is a crowd, it's probably going to be a lot of, Longhorn fans. So It's going to be a big challenge. But I think you can play and compete with what they saw in the second half.
I'm with you on Mikey Williams. I think that, you look at him and you're starting to develop somebody with ball handling capability, and now you get Jalen Cook back, and that could provide some depth there. What do you believe he brings this team?
I think it's some of that, protecting the basketball and kind of the straw stirring the drink. I think there's times where LSU's kind of searching for a point guard, and again, that's a lot of pressure to put on Mike Williams. And I think the upside is tremendous for that young man. I think he's going to be a great player, but he's kind of having to carry that load kind of by his lonesome. So, I think, number one, you get Jalen who can help maybe structure the offense a little bit better. And secondly, you got a guy that, again, is all AAC 2 years in a row when he transferred to Tulane, and I think averaged 18 points a game his junior or sophomore year, and just under 20 points a game, last year. So, you're talking about a guy who can hopefully night in, night out can contribute double-figure scoring. So, you look at it, what a huge shot in the arm that would be for this team. So I think that's, I got to the arena yesterday kind of hoping there would, I saw what was going on, and I was keeping up with Delhi, and Delhi was updating every minute as to, what this means for everybody, because again, the NCAA can't get out of their own way. They just, even the most simple things they cannot handle. So, it took, first off, what's going to happen if you do play, and then, the judge rules in favor of the NCAA. Can they go back retroactively? Because they love doing that.
Absolutely.
That's one of their strong suits.
Wins.
So everybody was like, okay, that doesn't change anything. And then later it was, no, we won't go back. Are you sure? You're going to put that in writing? So, it was kind of, to Matt's point after the game, because a lot of people were wondering, why Jalen didn't play. There was a lot of ambiguity. I was in the arena with them during practice, and there was a lot of communication just trying to nail down what can we do, what can't we do. But we certainly don't want to jeopardize anybody at this point. I think he's suffered enough. You certainly don't want to put him in a tougher spot by giving them ammunition. So as it turns out, it looks like from the conference office, and you'll love this, the NCAA again, when they said they were not going to do anything to anybody, they said, but now we're going to have to call our member schools. Okay. They're going to call every school. So you can imagine how slow they are on that. So I think
2031
between yesterday and now,
email, brother.
Yeah,
I know.
I think now we're all kind of clear. So I think unless something changes, we're expecting to see Jalen take the floor of Saturday, which couldn't come at a better time. Based on what we were talking about with that matchup. So hopefully that's going to happen. And the bigger question I think for fans, which I am, is do you want any transfer rules or not? And I think short term, there's a lot of fans, a lot of teams, a lot of players, a lot of coaches that short term right now don't. They want the waiver issue taken care of, and you can just transfer whenever you want because of the situation. But I think that's, do we really want that moving forward? I don't know. It's all crazy. What we knew as college sports is radically different.
Far gone. Yeah. Because when you look at if you have a player in the transfer portal, you're trying to keep somebody out of the portal, like you're trying to retain your guys, that's really the only coup you have is, look, if you go there, you can't transfer again. You're stuck there. And so it's kind of a conversation piece to all right, maybe you'll just stay here, and maybe the grass isn't always greener, because if you don't like it here and you go to Oklahoma, Texas, wherever, you really don't like it, you're definitely stuck there. So it's the only pitch they really have to keep people on campus.
I think it makes it harder, obviously, for that retention. You look at teams today in all sports. They have, you have the traditional recruiting piece, which is they're, not only scanning the high school ranks when they're sophomores and juniors in high school, they've got another group that is monitoring the portal and scouting the guys who are in the portal. And then you got a whole other team whose job is just to retain the players you currently have. The operation of recruiting and retention is kind of mind-boggling. And frankly, there's only a handful of schools truly in the country that can furnish and have that kind of budget to do that. There's nobody in the G5 got a big retention team. They're just kind of, I think to your point, that's kind of what they do is if you transfer, you may not be able to play right away. So why don't you just think it out and stay here? And
for as many people are in it in the first 4 days, it's going to be interesting to see who don't have a home.
I don't know where all these go. I mean, I don't know how many roster spots are out there.
Where do you go, man?
What are we up to, 1,500?
I think it was closing in on 2,000.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. See, I saw it when
Why
it was,
not?
I saw it when it was over 1,400, and it was like the day or two after the window opened. I'm like, wow.
It's just, Malik Murphy went in last night. His team's playing for a national championship. I mean, like, he played 2 games this year. He started.
Yeah.
Do you go into radio? Do you ever have a thought like, I'm going to do this to call a Heisman Trophy season? It was like ever a thought like when you were dreaming about the job or when you were in the job? Did you ever think like, man, it'd be cool to call a Heisman season?
I'm sure it would have. I just never thought it would ever happen.
Right.
I mean, you got to remember, for me, growing up in Eastern Kentucky, first of all, football was certainly secondary to basketball, and Heisman Trophy winners weren't typically playing at the University of Kentucky when I was a kid.
Yeah,
so
right.
it was something that happened to these programs so far away from me.
More than Naismith Trophy.
Yeah. That's
right.
what, that one I thought we had a shot at.
Right.
But so growing up, it was kind of like, wow, the Heisman. I don't really, you almost don't even have a concept other than that must be the best player in college football.
Mm-hmm.
And now to have come to LSU and been able to thankfully watch 2 guys play at the highest level, and I mean, you think about it. This is my 8th football season and 2 Heisman Trophy winners in Burrow and Daniels. I mean, it's
both at quarterback.
I mean, yeah, both at quarterback and both putting up just like they put up numbers that, and I've said it on your show a couple of weeks ago. Like, if he doesn't get the award, then okay. I mean, I feel bad for him because he deserved it and he got robbed. But he is the best player. I mean, it's not. What are we? I mean, there's no argument here.
Right.
Anybody could say Marvin Harrison. Anybody could say Penix. Anybody could say Nix, and it'd be like, yeah, but these are the numbers, and and your guys' numbers are paltry compared to this. So enjoy the trophy, but he's the better player. That's what both Joe and Jayden have done. It was like, hey, you cannot not give it to them.
It's too good to ignore.
They're just that good. And to be able to watch it and be a part of it and, occasionally run into them, say hello, travel with them. I mean, I never imagined it. And it's still something that's quite amazing, and I'm pretty blessed to get to do. And, I was talking to Sherman Wilson, who Jayden thanked.
Yeah.
We had him on the podcast earlier this week, and they just had a great story. And if you haven't heard about it, shameless plug, I invite you to go watch the podcast, the Kent Lowe Show, as I call it.
And then,
yeah,
do it at the bowling alley.
It was great to just hear, Sherman talk about it from that standpoint that he had, the way that Jayden performed this season, and it's just, you don't get those many opportunities. But I said to him, and Kent agreed. We said, when Joe Burrow did what he did in 2019, we thought, we don't know when it'll happen again. We'll ever see anything like this. 5 years later,
I don't know if we'll ever see anything like this.
The old saying, fool me once and fool me twice. I'm not going to say we won't see it again. I mean, that's kind of what makes me exciting to be a part of LSU football. Is we didn't think we'd see Joe Burrow again, and we saw Jayden Daniels, which in and of himself is different than Joe. Both fantastic, but in different ways. So if somebody says, do you think LSU can do it again in 3, 4, 5 years? The answer now, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I've seen it done.
Yeah. LSU Gold has a great piece, a great sit-down with Blair and Lowe sitting down with Sherman Wilson, who, as Chris said, was shouted out in the Heisman speech. And then all throughout the season, he was referenced as somebody that was very close to Jayden. What would you learn in that discussion of talking to Wilson?
We asked Coach Kelly throughout the season, like, how, once Jayden really started to do what he's doing, it was like, how did you guys see it when he was in the portal and was coming from Arizona State? Like, not that he had bad numbers, but they weren't eye-popping. And Brian's the first to say, oh, you can't, I mean, we thought he had talent and skill. We thought we could put a plan together for him, but all the credit goes to Jayden because he put in the work. And that's what was great talking to Sherman was Sherman not only had the vantage point that the coaches had, which is, Jayden's in there at 5 a.m. and they had to change the security codes for the building. But Sherman saw him after he was done with football. So he was with him when he's working, so to speak, and then he was with him when he was relaxing. They made sure they watched Sunday Night Football together every week and Monday Night Football, no matter what was going on around them, just to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Not really to study.
Yeah.
They just watch these other guys play ball and have fun. But Sherman said, I mean, every challenge that they put in front of Jayden or every opportunity, we think this will get you better. He never said, I don't know, or I've got enough on my plate, or he said he just stayed hungry. He was like, it's the guy that you put the food in front of. He doesn't just eat his. Are you going to finish that? Like, he's going to eat yours too. And he said that's the work ethic Jayden has. And, if you remember, I was on this show before the season started, and we were talking about Jayden, and I said, everything that I'm hearing from people I trust in the building, all the things that he's improved on and all the things that he is doing sounds an awful lot like what we were told about Joe Burrow going from 18 to 19. And I kept saying, but let me preface, I'm not putting pressure on Jayden that, he's going to have a Joe Burrow year. I just think he'll make some major improvements. And then, last week, here we are. He's the Heisman Trophy winner.
Not that this would take anything away what he's accomplished in college, but when you now have 5 years of Burrow in the league, he's an alpha, right? I mean, like, he's one of, kind of like the elite.
Anytime you watch a Sunday game or NFL game, they'll talk about the elite, and Joe's in the conversation.
It doesn't take them long. Mahomes, Burrow, that's kind of like right there. You think Daniels can get there?
We asked Sherman that, and, Sherman is a guy who said all of those attributes that people say make Joe who he is. I mean, again, you've got God-given talent. You've got Joe's size. You've got his arm. Jayden's got his skill. They said the differentiator is the work ethic and the stuff that's done that we don't see. And Sherman, I think, put it best. When all of us talk about how it looks so easy that Jayden's just floating down the field and he's outrunning, defensive backs, and he's weaving in and out of traffic. It does look easy to us, but we weren't in there watching him do the work. So when you do the work, things do look easy. That's what the great ones do. Yeah. And for that reason, Sherman is convinced he's going to have a really good career. I mean, like, solid career, like possibly elite career. And, he said if nothing else, it's because everything so far that has been thrown in front of him, hurdles, bumps in the road, he's just went right through them. He puts his head down, he goes to work, and he gets done with it. And if all of that remains equal, I mean, I think he could be sensational. And I think he'll certainly grab a lot of eyeballs in the NFL on Sundays and Mondays and Thursdays and whatever else days they play.
There have been players that have been robbed of awards. There have been players that have gotten awards that may not have deserved it during that time, right? I mean, I think even LSU's been in that discussion. What do you think of what happened to Malik Neighbors?
I think that's probably the best way to look at it. I think even some of the more middle of the road people who felt like it really was a close race, which it was, obviously. We're told one vote. I think even those people would tell you that maybe Harrison had a little bit of advantage because of what they think he will be. And it's what they think he will be since he became a college player. It's almost like he was destined for this. We can't not give this to him. But again, the same thing I said with Jayden. I mean, they can say Marvin Harrison all day long, and he can have the Biletnikoff, and that's great. But the best receiver in college football, from a number standpoint and from watching the guy, is Malik Neighbors. And if I'm a front office guy, sure. Everybody that was up for that Biletnikoff, I think, will make great NFL receivers. But if I'm the guy that's got to pull the trigger, I'm taking Malik. I mean, I just think his size, his hands, the understanding of all of the positions in the receiver routes. He did get robbed, but hopefully he turns that into, the energy he needs to become the best receiver and follow suit with Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase and those guys and become, WRU for LSU in the league. And I think, that's what Sherman said about Jayden. I asked him, I said, you know Jayden, like when you get to New York, surely he's confident he's done enough to win it. I know he wants to win it. It was a goal of his from a little boy. Yeah. But how would he have handled it had he not won it? And that's what Sherman said. It would have been another fuel to the fire. And he said he might have saved some teams some heartache, because if he hadn't won, he's going to be ready to tear it up in the NFL. He said, I think he still will, but he would have taken it as this doesn't define me. This is going to drive me, and hopefully that's what Malik does.
You think they go after this record together?
I was asked that, coming in before I got here. Do I think he's going to play? I mean, I guess it's just the old jaded, grizzled old man in me, is I don't think he'll play. I don't have any information. Yeah. Would I love to see him do it again and do that? Yeah. Do I think he will in 2023? I don't know. I mean, and I've sit down, and I think every fan should do this, and they probably do, is if you're the one who they're looking to for advice, if Jayden were to come to you, as he is to the people in his life, and say, I love my guys, we've been through the battles, one more chance to suit up, should I do it? What would you tell him? With, again, the Heisman already on the shelf and the draft around the corner and generational wealth, life-changing money.
I mean, his name's in the top 3 every mock draft that's
yeah.
out there.
I mean, do you do it just because you want to go play? And, again, I love that spirit and would love to see it. I just, again, call it the old jaded man. In this day and age, I don't think he does. But we'll see.
I think you got a lot of people behind you on that. I'm with you. I just... Doesn't make a lot of sense.
I think the reason it's a conversation is because of Malik, right? Like, because it feels like Malik is going to play, so it's like, oh, maybe Jayden will do that so they break the record together. If Malik wasn't playing, I don't think it would be a conversation of Jayden even thinking about strapping it up.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think because, again, we always talk about how the guys, love the 3 letters on the front of the jersey. And that's not saying if he doesn't play, he doesn't. Right. I'm just saying that's the way we always kind of lean into this. And then when Malik was pretty clear right after the end, which, again, I was walking to my office after the game, and I'm getting, text message. Malik says he's playing in the bowl. He said, what? Like, the game just ended. Right. So, but he was pretty determined, and looks like so far indications are he's going to play. I don't know that I'd advise a young man to do it. I don't know.
I'm with you. 11 a.m. Saturday morning, it is LSU basketball versus Texas. The best broadcast call you can find is on the LSU Sports Radio Network. That is Chris Blair and John Brady calling the action. They'll be courtside in the Toyota Center for the Tigers versus the Longhorns 30 minutes prior to tip-off. So that's 10:30 pregame on the LSU Sports Radio Network, however and wherever you listen to the broadcast. Great to see you.
Yeah, man. Good to be back. Y'all have a great rest of the week and weekend.
Yes, sir. Will Wade from McNeese next here on the Jordy Culotta Show. We'll be right back. Hour 2.
Fold up, keep pushing, can't let you slow up, bounce back, can't let you fold up, keep pushing, can't let you slow up, bounce back.
Red Stick Sports, a local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you by Hebert's Lawn Maintenance. Commercial or residential, Hebert's Lawn Maintenance is ready to work. Hebert's can tackle all your homeowners association requirements. Call Blake at 225-485-8022. Hebert's Lawn Maintenance.
In a wreck, Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys is ready to go to work for you. Come meet your team.
I'm your intake specialist. I coordinate your case and connect you with your attorney and paralegal.
That's us, your legal team.
Here you go.
Thanks. And we'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve.
I'm your settlements and disbursement manager, and I'm here to get you paid on time.
I'm attorney Gordon McKernan. Put our team to work today. Just call us. Get it done.
Hey Tiger fans, when you're traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, make sure to visit Tom and Wright Granning at Go Mart and On The Go Deli, where you can fill up your tank and your belly. Go Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you may need on your trip. Located at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left. Also stop by Wardo's Po' Boys at 309 North Broadway on the beautiful Natchez Bluff, where the Po' Boys are so good you'll swear you're in Cajun country.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
All right, buddy. Make it a good shot.
Oh, yeah.
sticking the roof in.
For a hole in your roof, for a whole new roof, go roof. Roof, roof, go roof.
Hey, Greg, roof up?
Roof's up.
Roof's up.
Roof's up.
Roof's up.
Roof's up.
Roof's up. Beautiful roof every single time.
True. True.
Well, the Oscar Andrews Sports Medicine Institute collaborative effort was an idea from Dr. Andrews and myself to bring together two great names, the Andrews name and the Ochsner name, to elevate the quality of care for athletes in the state of Louisiana, where he's from.
I always thought I would come back to Louisiana and practice orthopedics with my subspecialty being sports medicine. This was an opportunity through Ochsner's to come back and work the entire state to help develop and take sports medicine to a new level.
As an orthopedic surgeon, what this means in the future in terms of, access for our community to the type of care that Dr. Andrews pioneered, words can't describe how valuable that is.
Ochsner has a great opportunity here to really grow, and Dr. Burnham, of course, is the mainstay of making that happen. If you want to have first-class sports medicine care, check in with Dr. Burnham and his group, and you'll be more than impressed and pleased.
Can't let you fold up, keep pushing, can't let you slow up, bounce back, can't let you fold up, keep pushing, can't let you slow up.
All right, welcome back here. Jordy Culotta Show, Hour 2. Good stuff, Chris Blair. Appreciate him stopping by here. More basketball for you yesterday, including the McNeese State Cowboys rolling over Southern Miss 67-48. Willie Wade back on the sideline for the Pokes. Social media over at McNeese blowing up yesterday. Stuff looks great. We had the T-shirts over here on the Culotta Show. Coach Wade back for the Cowboys. It is great to see the General back in his element, coaching basketball with a really good team. McNeese last night improved to 9-2 on the season and will host the Cajuns on Sunday, which is going to be a hot ticket with the Cajuns in town. Will Wade is here with us this morning talking about last night. Coach, the General, salute. How are you?
How are you guys?
Doing great. First off, how are you, man? You got to be
desperado
back in the saddle. How was yesterday?
It was fun. It was a lot of fun, and look, we got a good team, good group of guys. They're fun to be around, and they're obviously very talented and good players. But it was a great day. We had a tremendous crowd. I think the largest crowd we've had for a basketball game, and hopefully we'll break that on Sunday. But it was just in our arena. It was just a fun night, and happy for our players. Our players have worked hard, and they deserve to have a good crowd, and to have that sort of atmosphere was really cool.
One more about you. I'll get to the team. Just yesterday, how was the emotions? It's been over 600 days since you've done this, and you're as passionate about your trade as anybody out there. What was kind of the emotions of yesterday leading into tip-off?
It was a long day. It was fun. I had donuts with Daddy in the morning at my daughter's school. So that kind of got the day started. It was fun. It was a full day. Look, you're so, it's like riding a bike, man. You're so routine oriented. You get right back in your routine. You do the same thing. We've had the same game day routine for going on 10 years now. So you just get in there and you do what you do. And, it's a lot, the fun part is being that you feel like as a coach, you can impact the game a little bit. So not being with the team during the games, those first 10 was tough because it's out of your hands after you leave them the night before the game, but being able to interact on game day and that sort of thing was certainly exciting. And it was just fun to be around the guys and fun to be back and shoot around. I've got a lot more appreciation now for all the little things and all the little stuff, all the little moments I try to sit back and enjoy those probably a little bit more than I did, in the past. And so, that part's fun. Just, sitting there and eating pregame meal with the guys and talking to them, and the quiz before and going over the writing, just all that sort of stuff is I try to find a lot more joy and a lot more pleasure in doing that stuff. And it was fun to do all that yesterday.
You had to be ecstatic how Coach Hamilton and the staff handled the first 8 games.
Oh, they were Vernon and Chambers, man. They were awesome. I told them I can only screw it up from here on out. So,
right.
They were tremendous. And Sean Forrest, my other assistant, he's a veteran. He's been doing it a long time. He was at Memphis last year. He knows what he's doing. We've got Reed and Brady and Nick. We got really, really good people. My strength coach is absolutely phenomenal, Steve Solskjaer. We just got really, really good people, and the people make the program. I always say that. And we've got tremendous people that work hard and care about our players, and our players, our players are bought into them. And when you do that, you can have a good team. You got some talent.
Did you think DJ Richards could shoot it like that? 6 3-pointers last night, career high, huh?
Yeah, I knew. He's a sniper now. He can really, really shoot. He's a transfer from UTSA. He was on the all-rookie team in Conference USA last year. He's a talented kid from Houston. How about this? So his sister, she was in the WNBA, and she plays over in Australia now, but she played for Coach Mulkey at Baylor.
Oh, wow.
Dee Richards. Wow. She was a really good player for Coach Mulkey. She was on one of the national title teams at Baylor for Coach. And so, but he's comes from great bloodlines, really, really good player. Just an awesome kid. And he scored 17 at VCU. He had 3 or 4 threes there. And that's what he can do. You leave him open, it's going in.
Another night for Wells as well for him, 13-5. You got the Cajuns coming in on Sunday, Coach. A little scout report on UL.
Yeah, Wells played well. We had really good double-double from Shoemate, and Cullum got 14 rebounds. So they did a great job battling on the glass. Coach Marlin's a great coach. They got a good team now. They've got really, really good guard play. Kobe Julian, a kid who's from Baton Rouge, went to Madison Prep. He's their leading scorer. He's battled through a couple knee injuries, and he's back. He's an older guy who's been around for a long time, veteran guy. Point guard is really, really good, kind of sets the table for everybody else. They're tough, they're physical. It'll be a big time physical battle, and a really, really good basketball game, hopefully.
Hey, real quick, before I get you out of here, what would you think of the ruling of the NCAA on lifting the transfer rule? How does that affect you at all, or does it affect the way you recruit?
Oh yeah, it affects us. We've got a kid. We've got a transfer from Florida, 2-time transfer from Boston College in Florida sitting out. We got a kid from Cincinnati and Utah sitting out. Yeah, it affects us. You know me, I'm about the free markets, buddy. So I believe that. I believe that. I don't think there should be any restrictions on anything, in my opinion. That's just the way I believe. That's the way I work. And so, I think that I think the court. Anytime you're the NCAA, you go to court. It's very, very tough for them to win, and it was going to be it was a matter of a bunch of people had threatened this and gotten their kids cleared because the NCAA knew they couldn't win. And I think this is just a natural ending to kind of where this was going. And so, it's good, man. The kids who transfer should be able to play. And one thing that's happened is the media, and I know you guys are in the media has sold this narrative that's just totally false. And the NCAA peddles this narrative that, well, the member institutions came up with the guidelines, and we're just enforcing the guidelines. That the member institutions did come up with the guidelines. They came up with the 7 guidelines. And the member institutions and the kids who transferred felt like if they met all 7 guidelines, they were going to be eligible. And what the NCAA has turned this into was, you can meet all 7 guidelines, but then we get to decide whether you're eligible or not. That's not what the membership said. The membership said if you get all 7, you're eligible. And then they changed it and twisted it And that's why they ended up in this position. A lot of these kids who transferred met all 7 requirements. So when they transferred, they knew they met the 7 requirements, which meant they thought they were going to be eligible, including Cook, including our kids. And so when you do that, and then you change it up, you're going to have problems. And that's what happened to them. And it's just been a false equivalence that, it's the membership and we're just enforcing the membership. No, the membership told you what they wanted, and then you took what they wanted and put your own spin on it and get to be judge and jury on whatever you want. And the judge was very clear. One of the criteria they said that wasn't going to be overriding, but if you look at most of the ones they had granted, especially early until they were forced by threatening court action, was kids who were transferring closer to home. Well, that has nothing to do with your mental health. Some kids need to be further away from home for mental health. And that's certainly in where they got hammered yesterday was with the antitrust stuff with the Sherman Act. That certainly restricts your trade if you can only go closer to home. What if your market's better further away from home? And that's what the case was about yesterday, more than mental health. But anyway, you got me on my soapbox a little bit. That's not hard to do. But I think it's good. I think it's good for the athletes. I'm pro-athlete. Anything that's good for the players is good. And if it makes the coach's job a little bit harder, so be it. We're all compensated well. I mean, that's, we're supposed to be in it for the guys. If they, look, I'll probably lose guys after this year in the portal. I'm going to wish them well, man. We're going to go recruit kids off of them. Hey, look, this kid moved up. We'll go get another kid just like him from somewhere else and try to move him up. That's what America's about, isn't it? You take advantage of the opportunity you get a better opportunity. Right? Isn't that how it works?
Yes, it is.
Salute.
William Wade, I miss you very much. It's great to hear from you. Best of luck on Sunday. We'll see you down there.
Will Wade 2024?
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
God damn.
Daddy's with donuts. Must be fun.
That is great.
Let me tell you a little something about the NCAA.
Gather around, kids.
Come here. Circle up.
Come here. You want to play college ball?
You going to drink that orange juice or what?
And this is what taxes do. Rips the donut in half.
Rips it in 3/4 and gives him like a...
Let me tell you about that transfer rule, kid.
Oh, you want to give that donut to him? Well, now you can't eat that donut.
Hell yeah.
You can't have a donut for a
If
year.
you eat 2 donuts, you can't have any more.
No donuts. You have to wait a year to get another donut.
I mean, good. That was a good. That was a good question. I didn't know I was going to get on that question.
Coach.
Yeah, that thing's locked and loaded at all times.
6 minutes.
I got the.
Oh, you don't know what I think about it?
Tell you what I think about these bombs.
Hold this real
Willie
quick.
the kid's got the revolver fucking loaded. Do you think?
Hunter Hall. Did Ron just ask Will that question?
You think so, Ron? Oh my God, he's the best. He's the best. Not what America's about.
Oh, it's so good, man. It's so good.
He's still there.
Get in line.
Somebody had to say it though.
He's gonna have a huge job in 2 years.
I mean,
enormous.
LSU. I mean.
I mean,
do your job, Scott.
What if they made him wait out the transfer portal? You can't transfer back to LSU.
You can't transfer back to LSU. He's Will Wade and eligible to coach.
Yeah, right. I thought the opening line of that answer was great. You get the NCAA into the courts, it's tough for them to win.
Yeah.
It
tells you all you need to know.
It tells you everything you need to know.
You're going to take this to court?
Like,
Absolutely.
I'll sue you. Whoa.
Just listen to me.
Sign these papers.
Start talking crazy.
Like, what, rules? Real rules?
Right. Like, I just want you to sit out a year.
Yeah.
I got a pin for you right here.
Year.
Sign these papers real quick.
I mean, he could have probably taken them to court for the suspension. Well, wait, and been like, but I'll take my little suspension.
A bullet here.
Yeah.
I need my day in court.
Yeah, I'd get the social media cooking.
I mean, that was
time off.
That was like I got something to say.
Yeah.
Like, hold on. Let me hold on.
People will think that was a planted question. That was really just kind of like a Hail Mary on the way out. Let's see if we can get something.
We got everything.
Coach, does that affect you? He's like, it doesn't affect us. I got to transfer from Florida. I got to transfer from Boston College. I got to transfer from UNLV. What do you mean? It doesn't affect us. We go from unranked to a top 10 team with it today.
I'm going to play him? Yeah, hell yeah. It's the best.
That's so good, man. Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. Remember our friends Barker Brothers over in Plaquemine, Jude Barker and his brothers and the crew over there. You can get in touch with them over at Barker Brothers. 15% when you 15% off the bottom line when you mention the show over there. So get in touch with Jude Barker and the crew. You can dial directly to his pocket at 225-776-2431. 225-776-2431. Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. Mention the show, 15% off as we close it out here on this Thursday edition. I appreciate y'all being here as always. Make sure like, share, comment, subscribe if you have not done so. Friday edition will be back with you tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Closing it out here as LSU still in bowl preparation. Tiger basketball team getting ready to travel over to Houston to take on Texas on Saturday. Obviously, Jalen Cook going to be eligible and going to be playing on in that game versus the Longhorns. So we'll see how much different that makes LSU look on the basketball floor. So for everybody a part of the show, we appreciate it. Like, share, follow, comment, subscribe. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. For everybody here live. Click Here Digital, RMB Builders, 7 a.m. tomorrow. We'll see you.
Willie Wade just got everybody back in their fields. A little nostalgia play.
Hey, Chino, put my headphones up, bro. Right there. Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. Yeah, you see the notification, we about to go live. We got all your favorite guests, we got them in line. It's the Jordy Culotta Show, come have a good time. It's the hottest show around, we ain't gotta flex. Call up G, we get it done, we earning our respect. Tell recruits to let us in, where they going next. Throw up the L's, now we lit, band playing neck. From the boot to the east to the west coast. No matter where we at, we live, mic'd up for show. Open up the phone lines, come and join the show. Make sure you tell your friends about Jordy Culotta Show. Yeah, Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. Yeah, you see the notification, we about to go live. We got all your favorite guests, we got them in line. It's the Jordy Culotta Show, come have a good time. Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. Yeah, you see the notification, we about to go live. We got all your favorite guests, we got them in line. It's the Jordy Culotta Show, come have a good time. Yeah.